So, Dr. Don, we obviously had our partners at Pawrade bring in some puppies last week to our reset retreat. And it was so special and so fun for our guests. But I want everyone to understand why we actually did that, because I know there was actually some neuroscientific reasons that we did that. So, I wanted to ask you first, can you tell us about the relationship that dogs have with what you call, with what science calls the Schumann resonance? And tell us what that is.
Great question. So a lot of people know that dogs are used for therapy. They call them therapy dogs. And people know that the dogs are really there to try to help calm down the person that they're servicing. The problem is that a lot of people don't know how it works. It's not a problem, but they really don't understand it. What's actually happening is that animals are always grounded. And what I mean by grounded is they're connected to the electromagnetic energy of the earth. So they're actually in the Schumann resonance, which when they discovered that, which was basically back in the 50s, they started sending astronauts up into space, and they came back and started describing having these emotional disturbances. And they thought, well, these are doctors and scientists. Why would they have an emotional issue in outer space? And what they discovered is they became disconnected to the electromagnetic energy of the earth. So what they did is they tried to figure out a way. Dr. Schumann was the person who discovered it, and he figured out a way to measure it. He measured the Schumann resonance at 7.83 hertz, which is the electromagnetic energy of the earth. That's in the very low alpha brainwave state. So dogs are living in that state unless they're activated by a threat. But if the veteran, for example, if they're working with a veteran and they are not feeling grounded, when the dog gets near them, they'll actually help them resonate in the same frequency as the dog. Animals do it as well. Horses are great at it. Yeah, I know you have horses, right? And
Yeah.
so it's this kind of, idea.
And that's why I always called horseback riding equizen, because there was just something so zen-like about being around my horses. And we all know that dogs have the same quality. I think so many people think, oh, yes, dogs can lower your blood pressure. They're great for older people or veterans, people with PTSD, because we've heard that before. And we just think it's because they put us in a good mood. But there's actually these scientific backed reasons why we should be around dogs. What types of people could be helped by being around a dog? And how long do you actually have to be around a dog for the effect to kind of take hold?
It's actually fairly quick because that's what they're, especially the ones who are trained as therapy dogs, they will recognize that you are not regulated and that your nervous system is anxious. So they'll sense that. Dogs can sense it, horses can sense it. You've been around horses a lot too as dogs. They can sense when you're not feeling safe, and they will respond to that. But when they're trained to do it, they'll very quickly move towards you and get close to you so that they then start to feel like you start to then, your brain goes into a much lower active state. And it can be very quick. And the better the animal is trained, the faster it will be. And so they just know how to do it. That's what they're trained at. But every animal's capable of it. So it's not something just training does.
I think that's absolutely right. As you know, I got a dog, Bodie, from Pawrade, and we didn't particularly train him to be a therapy dog. But when my son, for instance, my 7-year-old, who can get a little hyped up and have behavioral issues, when he goes into another room crying off the handle because, he's gotten in trouble, my dog will immediately, Bodie will immediately perk up, go into the room where he is, check to see if he's okay, and curl up next to him. And I think we anthropomorphize dogs like, oh, he wants to see if I'm okay. But what you're saying is they really are sensing something that they want to help us come get back into regulation.
Because that makes their world safe too.
Mm.
So that's why if animals are around somebody who is not regulated all the time, they'll have fear of that person. And so their brain will learn that that person is not safe. That's why when you see animals who have been abused by, say, a male, for example, every time they see a male, they've associated males or the voice or whatever with, I'm going to get hurt.
Yeah.
So, but naturally, dogs and animals can do that, but they do sense that you are dysregulated. And just like you said, so Bodhi is going to go to your son because it knows that it can help him.
Yeah.
So it's true help.
It is true help. What did you see in our guests of the Reset Retreat after they interacted with the puppies? You're a very perceptive person. Did you notice any difference in their demeanor or in their energy?
Oh, for sure. You just see everybody. I mean, there's something about a puppy too, right? But as soon as they got around, you just saw people getting down on the ground with them, right? And wanting to hold them and pick them up and talk to them. And it's sort of, you almost see people go back to a childlike behavior, which is where most children are living in that kind of a state anyway. So, but that's what I really noticed. And people loved it. I mean, even people who weren't in our retreat were coming over there to meet with the puppies.
Who wouldn't want to meet with the puppy? Well, last question. I love Pawrade so much. Obviously, they are a service and a platform that I just credit with really changing my life. And I came to them and said, I really think there's a wellness slant. So clearly, this is proving that it wasn't just anecdotal. It wasn't just my idea that dogs can help you get out and take a walk and be more connected to nature, but there actually is really a lot of evidence that it can really help people with their wellness. So what types of people should consider maybe bringing a dog into their life, and how might just the regular everyday person be helped by being in proximity to a dog on a daily basis?
There's so many people that can be helped by it, especially seniors who are lonely, veterans obviously who are dealing with post-traumatic stress, anybody who feels anxious or dealing with a very high stressful job or home or something that they're dealing with. A dog will help that dramatically. And the science is there. Like I said, the science is proven even by NASA. You'll see the Schumann resonance on the NASA site. And if astronauts can benefit from it, right, then everybody can benefit from it. So I just suggest if you've got a stressful life or you just have trouble calming yourself down, right, absolutely a dog will help. And Pawrade is a great place. Those puppies were gorgeous.
Completely agree. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Don Wood. And people can find you, of course, at Dr. Don Wood on Instagram. And thank you to our friends at Pawrade. Make sure you follow them. And if you're in the market for a dog, they're the people to help you find one.